It'll be $90. Like if they'll do it, they'll do it. They'll do it. And that just doesn't make any sense. Shadow of the Eld Tree sounds like an expansion. What I mean by expansion, like the first, I'm not sure if it was the first expansion ever in gaming, but the first expansion that I've ever heard of was from like Diablo, like the isometric RPG, right? That game is old now, insanely old. But like Diablo, from what I remember, had like one of the first expansions I've ever seen in gaming. And it was made by another studio entirely other than, because Blizzard's the one that made Diablo. And it was made by an entire, I think it was made by Obsidian Entertainment, but it was an add-on to Diablo, right? And it wasn't really, I might be wrong about this, but there wasn't really like new story. It was just like a new class and like new enemies to fight and more spells and stuff like that. But it wasn't like an original story. It was just a lot of add-ons to enhance the original game. And then the second expansion I could think of was an RTS game. And it was, and that actually, unlike Diablo, had story. It had additional story that wasn't there. And the thing that we have to remember about those two expansions is that like, I believe Diablo Hellfire, though that wasn't planned. That was like an expansion to Diablo was like a mod. It was essentially a mod that another studio made that Blizzard approved of. So then it was called an expansion. That's what it was. And then they went further with that with StarCraft, except they added more. First expansions I ever bought were the Sim Fantasy. The cash grab with the previous games had great expansions that's added. Yeah, exactly. A lot of game companies will see what other companies will do. We've seen it. A lot of companies will see what other companies do it and they'll try to copy from it. That's probably exactly what happened with The Sims, right? The original Sims, I believe the original Sims was after Blizzard. But I'm pretty sure like Blizzard, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, but I can't remember there being expansions to any game at all before Diablo and before StarCraft. I think Blizzard was the first one. And if we're going off of that reference point, Sim 1 came out in 2000. Yeah, check when, not sure when Diablo, just look at it real quick. Just look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure it was before that. Diablo and stuff. 1996, exactly. Yeah. And by the way, the Sims expansions, fantastic. It's the Sim expansions. Those were all of them great expansions, right? When you got all the expansions together, when you compared the Sim expansions to like the original game, the original OG game, and then the game with all the expansions, it's almost like a completely different game. It's like a completely different, it's like if you, like they could have taken the Sims with all the expansions and then like put it all in one game and then slapped the label on it and called it like Sims 2. And then they would have gotten away with it, because that's how many, because there were like, I think 8, like, how many expansions? I think there were 6 expansions. There were like 6, and like, yeah, it just completely turned it on its head, you know. So, but you gotta remember, like, what I just realized, like, while we're talking, I've played this boss so many times that I just realized we're in phase 2. Yeah, exactly. exactly. thing, and with The Sims, I guess it was The Sims 2 that had all the expansions. My memory might not be remembering this correctly, but like, what was it? It didn't. After a while, it didn't make any sense to play The Sims 2 unless you had all the expansions. Like, because they were just, it was so drastically different. It was just so drastically different, you know? And so I could also easily see why, like, you could just buy The Sims and all the expansions and buy no other game else. Because number one, The Sims is hella fun by itself, right? Right? You could just be content with playing The Sims for like ever, right? The Sims couldn't make it because it was probably poorly optimized. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's corporate. That's the technical debt catching up with EA, but like, you gotta remember like where it all came from, and then with that, like where, because if you remember, there used to be expansions and all that. Then it really does seem like with all the like with like you don't want them to get away with making DLC another, like, recognized as another game, because then you're giving them avenue to like just money grab you know, just like gorge out of their consumer base, and that's bad. Like, and it's already pretty bad. I look at Final Fantasy VII, for example. That game is 20 years old, and yet people like, hold on, give me a second. I sell the bank. Oh my God, and then I sell the bank. I realize, Mara.
Cower in fear of the night. The hands of the fell Omen shall brook thee